Hey, we're back. It's Denise McKinney, Transformational Life Coach, your host of 10 Pages a Day Virtual Book Club. We are still reading that's the right way. The code, no, that's opposite. There we go. The Code of the Extraordinary Mind by Vishen Lakhiani. As you guys know, I've been visiting in Texas with my family, and I don't like to travel with book jackets. I know it's a weird thing, but I just don't like the way they slide around when I'm trying to use it for these videos and blah blah blah. So, hence my trying to figure that out just now. We are on page 75, the rest of page 75 through 85 today, and we are on law number 4. Well, we will be in a minute. Let me backtrack. We start talking here about how our beliefs influence others, and I'm just going to use the bottom line that he wrote in this, and that's your beliefs can influence both you and the people around you. What you expect, you get. And this is kind of interesting. I've experienced this one myself, and this goes in I told you I was reading another book at another time. Called How Yoga Works. It's just a really great book. We'll read that in book club together at some point. But this is great. It's this great question of, is how you see something or perceive something really how it is? Or is your mind, it's like your mind is filtering it through all of your beliefs and your biases and your misconceptions and what have you. So he asked this question: how much of the irritating or negative characteristics you see in others is really a belief you're projecting onto them? Huge. Huge. Like when you start taking a step back and looking at that, oh my God. It's transformational to relationships. Let me just say that. Just stepping back and being like, is that really what's happening? Or like, what am I, what color glasses do I have on during this situation? Rose colored glasses would be great, but let's be honest, a lot of us don't have those on all the time. So what lens am I looking at the situation from, and how can I change that? Is it really what it seems to be, or is it what I'm projecting onto it because of all this background chatter in my head? Now, we'll get to law number 4. Law number 4 is to rewrite your models of reality. So much of what we've been talking about. But it reads, extraordinary minds have models of reality that empower them to feel good about themselves and powerful in shifting the world to match the visions in their head. And, I was hesitant to talk about this next section because it's about child rearing, and I have no children. But this isn't my book. And I was carrying on kind of one of those I am not enough beliefs, that how can I talk to somebody else about kids when I don't have any? Well, I'm not talking to you about kids. Vishen is. And I do have beliefs about child rearing from a lot of the things that I've learned through personal growth that maybe will benefit someone, and maybe somebody will think, oh, Denise, you don't have kids, you're not allowed to talk. But I do plan on having them one day. I was one at one point, and I think that there's just a lot of really important information out there that needs to be shared. So diving into that, jumping out of my comfort zone a little bit, Vishen talks about healthier models for ourselves and our children. So this applies to ourselves as well, like I said. Each disempowering model of reality we have is really nothing more than a rule we've set up for ourselves. And like any rule, it should be questioned. Can I get an amen? Remember, our meaning-making machine never turns off. It doesn't stop just because we aren't kids anymore. There are always opportunities to help others develop new beliefs and get rid of old destructive ones. And after that, he gets into some work by a woman by the name of Shelley Lefko. Shelley and Morty Lefko, I guess, were big in this industry. I don't know a lot about them, just being honest. But Shelley writes, no matter what you do in any situation with your child, ask yourself, what beliefs is my child going to take away from this encounter? Will your child walk away thinking, I just made a mistake and I learned something great? Or I just made a mistake and I'm insignificant? And when you have that place to come from in shaping the life of your child, And even for a lot of us, when we're looking at our own lives and the things that we are having to unprogram or reprogram, and we're looking at our kids and we're thinking, do we want them to have to go through all of this, to have to question their innate sense of self-worth or their beauty or their intelligence? And we can really come from a different place of, what is my child going to walk away with? What are they going to believe about themselves? Do I want my child to walk away from this situation thinking, he's smart and intelligent, or he's a dummy and can't make decisions on his own? And it's just a really powerful place to come from. I think it's powerful not only for kids, but for all of us. When we are talking to other people and we're respecting other humans in their great capacity to make decisions and to rationalize and to intuit, how are we treating them? What do we want people to walk away from? What belief or what feeling do we want people to walk away from a conversation with us? That's a big question to ask that I think we go through our days and we don't think about. He goes through a scenario here, and again, he says also, even if you're not a parent, the idea here is quite profound. Imagine all of the dangerous beliefs you may have taken on about the world, even when the people around you were well-meaning, not to mention what happened when people's intentions weren't always the best. So again, knowing that we have control in that situation of what we take away, but also what we empower another person to take away from their interactions with us is huge. So he offers 2 exercises to rewire your beliefs. I love both of these. I do both of these. These are nighttime exercises. One is a gratitude exercise. So this you can do nighttime or daytime. It's really up to you. I do both. But the gratitude exercise is just taking a few minutes to think of 3 or 5 things that you're grateful for. And they could be big things. They could be the smallest things. They could be as small as, the way the sheets feel as you wake up in the morning, or the way your body felt when you stretched, or looking at your partner across the pillow, or your pet, who's down on the floor looking all cuddly and cozy, or whatever the case may be. Or it could be that you're waking up with a roof over your head, or that your family's safe. It can be anything, but there's so much to be grateful for, and it really sets a different mood and energy around the day that you walk into when you can find those couple things to be grateful for. And it can shift the energy that you take to bed with you also, because I'm speaking as if you're doing it in the morning, but if you're doing it before bed, it's also a good time to shift that energy and to relax into sleep. The second exercise that I really like is the What I Love About Myself exercise. I like doing this with clients also. One thing to consider in our world is that people are chronically underappreciated, okay? So it's kind of like one of those things when you tell somebody genuinely, not just like, oh my God, you're so great. Not that, but like you know what? I saw you do such and such today and it really made me smile. Or I felt really great when you did such and such. Or I really appreciate that you did such and such. People react weirdly, right? They're like, what? That's chronic underappreciation. And one of the things I think we also suffer from is I don't know how I would say this, but a chronic lack of self-love and appreciating ourselves for things that are both small and seemingly insignificant, but they're not, and the big things. So before you go to bed each night, maybe in the morning, maybe do it both times, think about a quality or an action of yours that made you proud today. And you're thinking about what it is about you as a human being that you can love. And when you do that, cool thing is you start embodying those things more often. And rest assured that if you can love yourself for doing them or being them, so can somebody else. And it starts hacking at that feeling of not enough. You start building that feeling of enough. And again, beliefs, experiences, that whole loop that I keep talking about, it starts to feed into itself. And soon enough, that belief is easy, that I am enough, and that these are all the amazing things that I do on a regular basis. And Marissa Peer, remember the hypnotist that we talked about, I think in the last video, or maybe it was today's. She suggests that all of us have a child within who never received all the love and appreciation we deserved. We can't go back and fix the past, but we can take responsibility to heal ourselves now by giving ourselves the love and appreciation we once craved. You can help heal your inner child. And for a lot of people, that may sound, soft science, but think about that. Think about the idea that we are always every version of ourselves. We're just kind of like these layers, like Shrek is a parfait. Not really. Shrek was an onion. Ogres are like onions. But being serious, we're always all of these iterations of ourselves, because that's where those beliefs get stuck, right? The beliefs when you were 15, or the beliefs when you were 25, or the belief when you were 30, or the belief when you were 40. And we carry those into our present and into our future in our behaviors, our systems, as we talk about in this book. So it's really important to take a look back at that person, that younger version of ourselves. And basically what we're saying to that person is, hey, little Denise, you are enough. You're more than enough. You're not broken. And we have so much, there's so many beautiful things about you. You are more than enough. Oh my God. Like little Denise was just like, oh, I love my life. It's huge. It really is. So think about it. Play with this exercise. I also have one that I like people to do in my coaching. If you're willing to step into it, and it people laugh, they'll laugh at themselves, they'll make faces, but stand in front of a mirror and look deeply into your own eyes. This is where you're probably going to start laughing, but seriously, tell yourself, I love you. And say it until you mean it. There's an unlocking in a lot of our hearts that takes place there when we realize that maybe we haven't loved ourselves, and what that truly feels like to love ourselves. So give that a try. Stand in the mirror. If it takes you some time, it's fine. But say I love you until you mean it, and see what comes up for you. I'd be interested to know. You can add a note in the comment section, or even post it on my Facebook page, which is you'd search Denise McKinney Coaching on Facebook. But I'd be curious, because it can be a very profound exercise for people. So I'm running on time here. I'm not doing very good at this. We're looking at our external models of reality, which again are the beliefs you have about the world around you. And Vishen talks about 4 models that he decided to accept. One is that we all possess human intuition. I am on that bandwagon. Since I have accepted my own intuition and trusted in that, it has deepened my connection spiritually with other people as a coach, knowing what's right for me and what's not. And it's just beautiful. I won't go into that too much because, again, we're running high on time here. The second is that there's power in mind-body healing. Also, a fan of that. Creative visualization is actually partly how I got into Mindvalley. There's a woman, Lisa Nichols, who's amazing, does really great creative visualization meditations, which I think I'm going to get into at some point, but I'll keep you posted on that. But creative visualization, I'll read you Vishen's description, is a practice of shifting beliefs by meditating and then visualizing your life as you want it to evolve. It's based on the idea that the subconscious mind cannot differentiate between a real and imagined experience. Oh, if I only had the time. So much potential in just that very thought. And huge thing that we go into in my practice of coaching. So it's just like with stress. Your body can't differentiate what we would refer to as imagined stress, which it does create stress in us, deadlines and this, that, and what have you. But it's not the same thing as the stress of being chased by a predator or being in a life and death, immediate impact situation. But physiologically speaking, your body reacts exactly the same way. So reducing stress is key to healing. Healing happens in a relaxed state. Okay, now I'm getting into coaching stuff. That's a whole different thing. But creative visualization and even physically stepping into another experience, also something that I love to do in coaching, really, really solidifies that mental experience with the physical experience. So I'm on board there. Number 3, happiness at work is the new productivity. I gotta tell you, he says here, and I'm kind of jumping around in this section, you'll notice when you read it, but most of us are told to work hard. We spend close to 70% of our waking hours at work. Close to 50% of us dislike our jobs. Unless we're passionate about some aspect of our work, a big part of life will feel unsatisfying. And then he goes on to say, and I fully believe this, work should be something that inspires you to jump out of bed each morning. It's why I became a coach. And coaching kind of found me. That's a story for another time. But every day I get up and I think, yes, coaching. Like, what can I do for my business? What can I do? I love it. And I've had to do a lot of work to get unstuck, to even get to this video series, because there was a lot of I am not enough happening there. Like, who's going to want to watch me? But that's what gets me going every day, is thinking about my business and having a business, doing something that feels so good to me, that has the potential to help other people. Some people are going to like it, some people aren't, but to know that I can reach out to those people who I can reach and have an impact, oh, that feels so good. So let's move on, because again, passionate about it, could talk about it all day. This 4th one is, it is possible to be spiritual but not religious. Also a fan of that one. My spiritual life, it doesn't have a lot of the boundaries that come from dogma or religion, and that's okay with me. It's okay for me. And I think that it can be okay for other people too, but that's really something you have to explore for yourself. He talks about humanism here, and humanism is the idea that we do not need religion in order to be good, and this is kind of how I got to this. It differs from atheism in the sense that humanists believe that there is a God, but he's certainly not the judgmental, angry being that many religious texts make him out to be. Instead, to a humanist, God might be the universe or the connectedness of life on earth, or spirit. Really, for me, it's about creating my own experience of that deep universal love and connection, of spirituality. And so I guess I'm a humanist, but that's something I'm exploring a lot over time, and I open that up for other people. I think you should explore what feels good to you, what makes you feel full and connected, and not guilty and shameful and terrible. I think there's enough of that in our lives, and really, to be truly loved, we do need to feel that love in ourselves. Not that can't be found in a lot of religions, but maybe the dogma is keeping you stuck in a certain way. That's the idea behind this chapter. And on that note, we're at the top of page 84. Tomorrow, we will be talking about examining your models of reality in the 12 areas of balance. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for coming by.